in Virginia, in New Jersey, of course, the mayoral race in New York. And you have said that President Trump is the Democrats' best campaigner. What do you mean by that?
Well, nobody motivates core Democratic voters like this president. We saw it in 2017, 2018. I think we're seeing it again now in New Jersey and Virginia. He's going to motivate Dems there, and I think he'll do the same in California on the ballot measure. What I'm watching Tuesday is less the contest between GOP and Dem, and more the factional fight that's coming out of this election Tuesday. Here's the story we're all going to be watching on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Who is the big star? Is it the two new Democratic governors in Jersey and Virginia, Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger?
Roommates in college, by the way, or in Congress.
From the House, yeah. And, of course, Gavin Newsom with this big win. Or is it going to be the young socialist from New York? I can tell you, the Democratic traditionalists, the mainstream, the Elrod types, are going to be pushing those new governors, and they're going to be pushing Gavin Newsom. A lot of the younger, more progressive Democrats are going to be saying, no, the story is Zoran. And the Republicans like Gorman are going to be saying, the socialist is the story. Now, the question I have, back in the old days when Time and Newsweek kind of dominated our world, what would be on the cover the following week? Would it be just Zoran? Or could you get Zoran and Gavin Newsom sort of split cover? That fight in the next few days is going to be fascinating to watch. Who wins that narrative argument?
Mel, what are you going to be watching for?
I'm going to be watching, to see whether Republicans can hold on to the gains that they made in 2024 without Trump on the ballot, especially in New Jersey, which saw the second highest swing towards Trump than any other state in the entire country. And he did that by improving his standing with Hispanic populations. Now, there's some polling that shows some of the ICE raids are having a backlash. And also some of these voters were first-time voters. Turnout years. But I do think we'll get some really strong clues about whether Hispanic voters are actually realigning towards the Republican Party on Tuesday.
There's going to be a lot of focus to see if that new constituency that President Trump was able to drive up holds. But Adrian, to that point about Zoran Mamdani, I mean, how is the Democratic Party thinking about Tuesday, given the fact that if he wins, what would the message be about the strength of progressivism within the party?
Well, I think it shows, Kristen, that we are a big tent party, that we have the progressive wing of the party. We have these national security soccer moms who are both going to be respective governors in Virginia and New Jersey. There we go. To me, the overall issue, the overall issue, though, I mean, what Spanberger, Sherrill, and Mamdani all have in common is they're all talking about affordability. That's the key issue of their campaign. They are meeting voters where they are, and they are talking about the issues that are affecting their everyday lives, and they are presenting solutions. Donald Trump largely won in 2024 on the issue of high costs. He's done nothing to drive down costs. If anything, costs have gone up. So they're going to drive home that message. They're doing it in their own different, unique ways. Obviously, New York City being a ranked choice municipal election is far different than what the electorate is in Virginia and New Jersey, but you are still going to see three people who are talking about the same agenda and meeting voters where they are. And I think that is the biggest takeaway for us. Democrats are protecting your health care. We're going to drive down costs. That is something that Donald Trump promised he would do, and he has not.
Matt, what about that? This idea that, as you see in our poll, President Trump getting low marks on his handling of the economy and inflation, to what extent is that a headwind? After all, you are seeing the Republican candidates walk a very fine line, Jack Ciattarelli in New Jersey, as it relates to President Trump. He's not out on the campaign trail.
Yeah, one of the things I'm looking at, I think we're going to see it in 2026, but also 2028, specifically on affordability, the issue of housing. I mean, I saw this before Trump was elected. You saw governors out west, Republican governors, talk about this issue. I think in 2028, it's going to be one that Republicans are going to have a heavy policy plan on, but also it's going to be an issue in the campaign. The other thing I'm looking at, much like Mel, is New Jersey. If we keep it around 6 points, suddenly New Jersey becomes a 2028 battleground that both parties are going to have to reckon with. One of the most expensive states to run a campaign in. Democrats have been wish casting Texas turning blue for 20 years, yet New Jersey sped that up and could be here already.
I don't know about that. I think Jersey's still been a fool's gold for the Republican Party, as long as they have a challenge with suburbanites, as they have in the Trump era. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but it is the tea leaves of Trump gaining strength in 2024. Mel, on Wednesday morning, when Democrats and Republicans wake up, what are the lessons they're going to be looking for? Obviously, the Latino vote is going to be one of the big ones, as you say.
I think that's going to be one of the big ones. I think for Democrats, they're going to be looking at how effective was the campaign of trying to relentlessly focus on affordability. You saw that both in New Jersey and in Virginia, trying to make it less about Trump and more about the issues that actually matter for people. I do think at the end of the day, it is probably going to be a referendum on Donald Trump, though.
Yeah, and this push and pull between the moderates and the more progressives, the conservatives, the more moderates of the Republican Party as well. And the fact that you have former President Obama on the campaign trail, you have big governors, Josh Shapiro, Gretchen Whitmer, Kamala Harris,
who's not on the
Trump,
campaign trail?
MIA.
So who's not on the campaign trail? Well, obviously Trump is never going to show up in California,
Sure.
but Trump is not going to show up in Jersey or Virginia
Right.
either. They're too blue of states. But what was striking to me was who also never showed up in Jersey and Virginia. Nobody associated with last year's Democratic debacle. No Joe Biden, no Kamala Harris, no Tim Walz. None of them showed up in Jersey or Virginia. At the same time, Bernie and AOC, who were obviously the leaders of the left-wing faction, kept their efforts, at least in-person efforts, in New York City, because that's the big coalitional war going on in today's Democratic Party, is that race in New York City. They were not in Jersey and Virginia. I think that tells you something, too. Who do we see in Jersey and Virginia? It's mostly tomorrow. Who's tomorrow? Josh Shapiro, Wes Moore, potentially Pete Buttigieg, Ruben Gallego. They can play most every state in America.
Matt, do you think we start to see Trump as we get closer to 2026?
Well, I think you might see him, but I'll tell you who you also see. You're going to see a lot more Mamdani in Pennsylvania and a lot of these swing states, but in television ads, Republicans, not in person. You're going to be seeing a lot of Zohran Mamdani, AOC.
On a certain cable channel.
I think all over the place.
Adrian, 20 seconds, last thought on Zohran Mamdani and the fact that President Trump is getting ready to face off against him in a range of ways.
Look, he's excited a lot of young voters. He is talking about the issues that people are feeling. He's going to the table and saying, look, I may not be able to solve every, affordability issue for you, but at least I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try.
All right.
And I think that's what we're taking away for Democrats.
Great conversation, guys. Thank you so much to our panel.